Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be going over Sumabato SP Ultimate. This is the first major rendition of Sumabato, at least in the post-quarantine era, and this event is insanely stacked. We have a bunch of Japan's talent coming on down, and for our top 16 seeds, you're going to have Shower, Rarikun, Ryuo, and Level 1 as the 13th seed. You're going to have Masa, Kome, Alice, and Doramigi as 9th seeds. For our 7th seeds, you're going to have Umeki and Yara. 5th seed, Riziasu and Snow. 4th, Osimo. 3rd, Yoshidora. 2nd, Miya. And 1st is Acola. And this isn't going to be a normal prediction video because today's video is going to be pretty much entirely focused around these top 2 seeds right here. Now, I know that's not a crazy prediction to think that the top 2 seeds are going to be in the grand finals of a tournament, but I am very, very confident these two guys will be in the grand finals of the tournament. I'm not even saying that one of them is going to win. I'm sure that both of them will be in there, like 95% sure that both of them will be in there, guaranteed almost that one of them will win the event. I'll say 99% because, there's always a possibility that I'm wrong, but it's never happened before, and I don't think it's going to happen again. There's just such a clear gap right now between Acola, Spargo, Miya, and literally everyone else in the world, and I just don't think there's enough players at this tournament that can realistically double eliminate Acola or Miya from the bracket. And another reason that we're doing this video in the style today is because this tournament is not like your normal tournament. It's not just going to have a regular bracket. What we have instead is 32 different pools, and you have gauntlet phases. You have 4 people making it out on the winner side of bracket, 4 people making it out on the loser side, and 1 sad soul that doesn't make it out at all. At least that is my interpretation of it. So what that means is a majority of the bracket, the way that it's seated, is not going to be happening like at all. So we're mainly just going to be focusing on the top echelon for today and players that have the chance at taking out Acola and Miya. So let's take a look at Acola's record versus the top 16 seeds, and this is everyone except for the player that he obviously hasn't played. He's going to have a 9-5 record versus Yoshidora, an 8-1 record versus Osimo, and an 8-0 record versus Kome, a 5-0 record versus Ryuo, a 3-2 record versus Alice, a 3-1 record versus Showers, a 2-1 record versus Riziasu, 2-0 record versus Umeki, and a 1-0 record versus Level 1, Yara, Snow, and Rarikun. So as you can see, that's pretty good. For anyone wondering about the exact numbers, he has 54 sets played, in which 10 of them he has lost, 5 of them being to Yoshidora, who he has won his last 3 encounters against. I know it says he lost this one, but this is the grand finals of that tournament, and this is the reset, and then this is Kagura V10. And the only player out of all of these players that has beaten them on her last encounter is going to be Showers, who did manage to beat him 4 months ago, but also he was playing Aegis for the first 3 games of that set, so he probably won't be doing that. So as you can see, it's not looking super great. Now, I am not going to pretend like this tournament only has 16 players, and a lot of these top 16 seeds probably won't even get into the top 16. But when I'm looking at the players that have a chance versus Acola, the only one of them, at least that I could find, that has taken a set off him, that is a top 33 seed, is going to be Senra, who did it at a local. Now, he still did it, so maybe Senra can be the one to stop Acola, but he's going to have to make a crazy run to even meet up with him. And we got to do Miya as well. Now, his record versus the top 16 isn't quite as dominant. He's going to have 68 sets played total, unless I miscounted. And again, that's not including Acola. So he's going to have a 14-1 record versus Osimo, a 5-3 record versus Kome, a 5-2 record versus Yara, a 4-3 record versus Yoshidora, a 5-0 record versus Umeki, Doramigi, and Ryuo, a 4-1 record versus Snow, 4-0 record versus Alice, 3-0 record versus Riziasu, 1-0 records versus Masa, Showers, and Rarikun. So in total, he has lost 11 sets. The player that I didn't mention is the only player on this list, besides Acola, who's in the top 16, that has a winning record versus Miya. It's only 1 encounter, and also it was one of the 2 tournaments where Miya probably wasn't considered a top player. Like, you know what? This is his first tournament. Gets 33rd. That's pretty good. This is his second tournament. Gets 65th. That's pretty good. From then on, he was one of the best players in the world, so I don't really know if I want to count that. But also, Level 1 has been phenomenal these past couple months, so it's not unfathomable to think that he would beat Miya again if they do meet in the bracket. Again, we don't really have any idea of knowing when they're going to meet in the bracket. I assume that Miya is going to be a first seed, and by assume, I mean he is going to be a first seed, so I think it's going to be up to Level 1 to kind of not get first seed in his pool in order to actually fight Miya before the top 8, so that's going to be fairly interesting. I also want to point out the fact that the only set he's lost versus Snow, he was playing Steve, and also Ryuo, even though his record is 5-0, this last set at Sumo was incredibly competitive. Like, Ryuo is definitely one of the players I would favor to upset me, even though I would still favor me in the matchup. If it's going to happen, I could definitely see Ryuo doing it. The most likely answers, though, are going to be between Yara and Yoshidora. The reason I don't say Kome is there because he has his lost 5 encounters, as well as one of them being a 3-0 versus Steve, so don't have high hopes for Kome in that situation. Yara, they have been trading sets, so that could definitely go into Yara's fashion, though Miya does have the last encounter win. But Yoshidora, he has won their last 2 sets. Now, granted, they were at the same tournament, so Yoshidora just could have been playing better that day, but it is something to consider. Also, Osimo has the 14-1 record, did win this set at Altcourt, and had a very, very competitive Grand Finals. At least the first set in Grand Finals was very competitive, so it's not unthinkable that Osimo beats him as well, but the only player that I would even consider a favorite versus Miya would be Yoshidora, and even that would be probably an even matchup. Another thing to consider is the characters that Acola and Miya are playing. You're going to have Acola on the Steve, and you're going to have Miya on the Game & Watch. I like a great example to showcase my point is going to be Tweak. Remember at Gommel when Tweak ran into Big Duck Hunt Fan 7000 and he lost that set? Not surprisingly, because that matchup is abhorrent for Diddy Kong. But you're not going to see too many Duck Hunt players, so usually it's not that big of a deal. Well, Steve and Game Watch don't have any matchups like that they have to worry about. And if you look at the matchup chart for Steve, this one was made by Onan, and it is a couple months old, so maybe there's a couple things that are outdated, but in general, you're going to get the right idea here. You're going to have Sonic, Pokemon Trainer, Shulk, and Aegis has the really bad matchups. I could even see Cloud being in there as well. For PT, the only really, really good PT in Japan right now is Noi, maybe a Torie, but both players aren't in attendance. For Sonic, you don't have either Takai or Ken here. Now, for Shulk, you do have Kome in attendance, but also, I don't think Acola is too worried about that record. And for Aegis, you're not going to have either Fire or Shuton. And for Cloud, you're not going to have Yoshi here either. And then obviously, Spargo seems to be the only Cloud that can actually take Acola out. Now let's do the exact same thing for Game & Watch. This matchup chart was made by Meister, and again, it's probably a little bit outdated, but to compensate for that, we're going to move all the characters that are even Steven into losing. So let's imagine all of these characters are losing. Well, who plays these characters in the top 16? The answer is no one, not a single person in the top 16 or projected top 16 plays any of those characters. And if you look at the actual losing matchups, like for sure losing, you're going to have Zero Suit in there, and Mars is halfway across the world, so don't need to worry about that. You're going to have Ike in there, it's Ike, you don't need to worry about that. And you're going to have Shulk in there, and as we've already established, Miya, he's got a pretty good record versus Kome, so I don't think he's too worried. I also do think that Rosalina definitely beats Ice Climber, but that's a tough matchup, but the Buzz, he ain't here. So for Miya, again, the matchups in the top 8 are good for him. I will say Yoshidora may be a little bit scary and Ryu a little bit scary because I definitely think that Diddy Kong goes even with Game & Watch in my opinion, and I can see Yoshi going even as well. So those are 2 matchups that he might have to worry about. But there's something that I haven't even mentioned that. That's the fact that both Acola and Miya have secondaries. And I don't know why every player in the world, especially at the top level, doesn't have secondaries. And they have secondaries in Steve and Aegis, by the way, 2 very easy characters to secondary. I mean, maybe Steve isn't, but Aegis definitely is a very good secondary character. So even if they happen to run into one of these bad matchups, don't worry. They have a counter pick that will counter it perfectly. Before we talk about who I think is going to win between Acola and Miya, we have to talk about the only thing that could stop them from meeting in Grand Finals, and that is Yoshidora. As I said earlier on in the video, I don't think the player pool at this tournament will be able to double eliminate Acola and Miya, but there is the possibility that Yoshidora sends both Acola and Miya to the loser side, where they'll have to play each other. Honestly, when I gave my percent at the start, it was like 95% to Acola and Miya, 4% to Yoshidora, and a 1% to everyone else. I think the only player here who can feasibly beat both Acola and Miya is Yoshidora, and spoilers, you're probably going to need to do that in order to win this thing. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not unthinkable to think of a player like Yara or Wizyasu or a player of that caliber could pop off super hard and send one of these players to the loser side, but that's not really enough. Both Acola and Miya, especially Miya, have proven that they can make losers run. Akola's best example probably being at Summit, and Miya's got a plethora of tournaments that you can choose from. I think in order for Acola and Miya to not be in the grand finals of this tournament, we need Yoshidora to get an upset over one of those players and someone to pop off super hard. So who's actually going to win this thing between Acola and Miya? We've been talking about how they're the clear favorites, but we haven't even talked about who's the favorite between them, and as you can see, Acola is definitely the favorite. They have 7 sets played. Acola has won 6 of them. Now, to be fair, 4 of them went to Game 5, so a lot of these sets have been very competitive, but the record is definitely in Akola's favor. I also think that the character choices are in Akola's favor because if Acola wants to counterpick Miya with Aegis, he can 1000% do that. If Miya wants to counterpick Acola with Steve, well, who is the best player in the entire world at the Steve Ditto? Spoilers, it's Acola, so he's kind of locked into Game Watch unless he has a tertiary character that I don't know about. So looking at all these stats, Acola is the clear favorite, but he's not my pick to win the tournament. My pick to win the tournament is going to be Miya. And my reasoning for this is because I want to push a narrative. I think that Miya is going to be the best player in the world by the end of 2024. Hell, maybe even halfway through the 2024 ranking season, I think he will be number one. The only reason I don't see him being number one in 2023 is because Acola is absolutely insane. And also, he has some very bad placements that I just don't think it's feasible for him to be number one. But Miya has been on such an upswing as of late. He is destroying people, and he destroys everyone. He steamrolls people probably the hardest in Smash Ultimate. It's like between him and Sonic's probably, he is just so dominant in the sets that he's winning. And even though being dominant versus players that aren't as good as Acola isn't the whole story, I think it is telling him how good he's getting at this game. Miya is a player that I feel like he just picks the correct choice 90% of the time. And Game Watch is a character that when you are doing that, absolutely thrives. So I'm going to say that Miya is able to get the upset over Acola and is actually able to win the entire event. And I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I know this video is different than our normal recaps, but to be honest, I had no clue how to deal with the pools being gauntlet stage, and I think this was a fun one. I know we didn't talk about many players in this video, so if there's someone I left out and you want to know how I think they're going to do, or if I said something wrong, or if you just want to say hi, leave a comment down below. Also, I'm curious who you guys have meeting in the grand finals, so let me know about that as well. The support has been absolutely unreal as of late. Be sure to sub, all that yada yada, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!